Welcome back. My name is Ben Case, and you are watching episode 2 of part 2 of a 4-part series that we are right smack dab in the middle of. And in this 4-part series, I'm going to be taking you from the contemplation of whether or not you want to get in shape and exercise all the way to maintaining the results that you get long term and keeping them for good. Now, if you haven't seen part 1 of the series yet, you can find that in the description below, where we'll cover questions like, why should you get in shape? Is it really worth it? Who does it affect when you're in shape or out of shape? And hopefully, if you're thinking about getting in shape and starting to take care of your health, it will give you that extra push. Now, part 2 of the series, the part we're in right now, is quite possibly the most important part of the entire 4-part series. And in this series, we're talking all about the preparation stage, getting you ready to start taking action and getting results. If you missed episode 1 of part 2, you can find it in the description below as well. But for now, we're going to dive right into episode 2, and it's going to have a lot of practical application, and I want you to pay close attention because it's going to be packed with value today. And with that, let's get right into talking about how to align your lifestyle goals with your weight loss path for ultimate success. Now, I want to start by asking you some questions, or really having you ask yourself some questions. And by the way, there is a downloadable PDF in the description with each of these questions on it if you want to have a version you can look at and actually fill in the answers as well. The first question is, why do you really want to lose weight and get in shape? And I want you to be as specific as possible in your answer. Ask yourself why as a follow-up to each answer you give to really see, is this truly the answer? Because you might say, well, I want to lose 50 pounds. That's what I want to do. Okay, but is that your whole goal? Why? Why do you want to lose 50 pounds? What do you think losing 50 pounds is going to bring you, or how it's going to benefit you? And then answer that question. And then maybe the next one you need to do why again. And try to really get to the source of, why is it that I'm trying to lose weight in the first place? Now, maybe there's more than one answer to this question, and that's okay. You can list them all, but what are the most important ones? Get down to those really core ones and list those especially as your answers for why you want to lose weight and get in shape. Now, make sure you're also being honest with yourself. Sometimes we can deceive ourselves. We know what maybe the right answer is. And here's the thing, there's no right or wrong answer here. Just be honest and answer to what's true for you. And then I want you to put a number of importance next to each one between the numbers 1 through 5. Now, for our sake, 1 will be the most important, your number 1 answers. And then 5 will be, it's not that important, could take it or leave it kind of, but it would be nice to have, these benefits from losing weight or getting in shape. Now, the next thing I want you to write down and think about that might seem a little bit of an odd question is, how long do you want this to last for? In other words, how long do you want to keep the results that you get? So if you wrote, I want to lose weight so I can get around a little easier and be in less pain, the question then to answer is, for how long? Do you want that to last a month? Do you want it to last 5 years? Do you want it to last as long as possible? And I'm assuming the answer for most of these things is going to be, I want it to last as long as possible. All right, now I want you to keep those answers that you just gave in mind. Don't forget those things, because we're going to filter the process and the steps that we take going forward through those big picture goals that you have. We want to really determine what steps are going to be necessary, what things should we be focusing on in order to best reach those goals. And we don't want to waste a whole lot of time and effort on other areas that aren't really meeting or supporting those goals that you have. Now, where this gets a little tricky, and a lot of people just don't really realize this, and it's helpful to understand, is that some of your goals, some of the things that you would like to achieve or accomplish, and then maybe not just those individual things, but sometimes the timeline you would like to achieve them in, or the way you would like to go about it, or all the different aspects around your goals could potentially conflict with each other. And so this is where having that priority set in place really does help in thinking through what things are most important, because when conflicts come up or two things maybe oppose each other, we have to kind of decide, which one am I going to focus on? Otherwise, a lot of times it can really stall progress, or it can create unrealistic expectations that you'll have, and that can really affect your outlook. It can really be discouraging, and it can also make you feel like something's not working that really should be working, but you have a conflict of interest going on there. So when thinking about how to go forward in getting results, getting the solution, there's different options out there, right? And here's the thing, not any of the one options are necessarily right or wrong. I do think some are just better across the board than others, but some aren't necessarily bad. They just might be bad for you. So how do we go about determining which program is going to be best for you, which diet is going to be best for you, which trainer or gym membership or not having a gym membership? Which thing should you be doing? And is it all just based on this is what feels right or this is what I want to do? Well, again, there could be a conflict there. You might want one thing, but that might not line up with the timeline that you want it in. And so we have to think these things through to determine what's going to be the best path moving forward to actually get results and then furthermore to maintain them. Well, if you grabbed the PDF from below, you'll see a list there. And this list is simply just some typical things that people may want or expect when trying to lose weight and get in shape. Now, I only listed 10 things here. There could be more. You might have other things you'd want to add to the list, and you can do that. That's just fine. And some of these just might not apply to you, and that's okay too. Now, don't worry about the different colors that I've put in there yet. We'll get to that. I'll explain what all that means. But for now, we're just going to look at the individual items. Now, the first thing I want you to do is figure out which ones really just don't apply for you and just cross them out. Maybe you don't have a busy schedule. So number 5 doesn't really apply. Cross it out. Or maybe expenses just aren't really an issue for you. You're going to be willing to pay whatever you need to in order to get the results. So number 6 doesn't really apply. Cross it out. You get the picture. So once you have the list narrowed down, we need to get a little more specific with the things that you have left and any that you might have added to the list. Some of these things are pretty subjective when you really think about it. What's enjoyable to one person may not be enjoyable to you. So it's worth getting to know yourself a little bit and actually thinking through, well, what things do I enjoy? What type of exercise is enjoyable to me or maybe interesting to me? I'd be willing to give it a try even if I've never tried it before. What types of diets, what types of foods do I like? What types of foods do I gravitate towards? And what kind of diet is going to maybe work for me long term and be sustainable long term? Thinking through these things is important because from the marketing side, programs are going to use words like enjoyable, long lasting, fun, quick, all these different things. But again, some of those things are very subjective. One person's definition of quick might be different than your definition of quick, and we really need to figure out what that means to you. Now, on the opposite side of the spectrum, it might be worthwhile also just listing some things you know for sure you don't want to do or you don't enjoy. That can be helpful. I wouldn't necessarily write anything off permanently just because it's worth still seeing how things might conflict. And if there is a conflict over here and the solution is this, but you don't enjoy this and it's something you've kind of written off as an option, you might need to reevaluate and just think, okay, well, which spot am I going to compromise on in this situation? And it might be that you still just, hey, I'm not gonna do this. I really don't want to have to do that. But then it's gonna have to change your expectations over here. Now, some of the other stuff on the list aren't quite as subjective, but they should still be defined. Point 1, it needs to help me lose weight. I mean, losing weight's not really subjective. Either you lost weight or you didn't, but how much? How much is important to you? How much do you want to lose? Think through that. So this is an exercise not so much for your trainer or for anyone else. It can be helpful for them as well, but it's really for you to think through this. So go through and actually list these things out. Think through them. And if you can't answer a lot of this stuff, you need to start thinking that through as well, because how are you going to stick with something? How are you going to actually get results if you can't even answer why you want the results in the first place? So just take a couple minutes. If you have to pause the video, that's fine. And just answer each of these things on what does this mean to you? What does that look like? And again, it doesn't have to be hard. There's not a right or wrong answer. It's just for you personally, what you actually want out of this and what you mean when you say each of these things. All right, once you've done that, there's one last thing that we need to do with this list before we can get to the next step of really determining the path that you should take. And that last step is a really important one. It's finding the conflicts. More often than not, there are going to be conflicts in people's goals that they want to achieve. And unfortunately, what I've seen more and more often in the health and fitness industry is that people compromise on the wrong one. And I do think part of that is the fault of the health and fitness industry. They've made you believe that you can have this, and they're not showing the conflict because they want to sell their product ultimately. So we need to draw those conflicts out. And then we also need to really think through which one is actually the better one to compromise on and which one really needs to have more focus. And just as a quick side note, The health and fitness industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and yet all these health issues are on the rise. Obesity is on the rise. More and more people, even younger generations, are becoming obese. More and more people are having cancer, heart disease, all these things that are related to your health and specifically your diet and your exercise. And yet, with the health and fitness industry having as much money as it does and getting as much people on board and selling as many products as they do, they still don't seem to be helping the issue. And so what's the problem? Well, I think on a large part, they've taught people to compromise on the wrong thing because unfortunately it sells. Now I've highlighted for you, and this is where the colors come in, some of the things that conflict with one another. Two things that are highlighted the same color conflict with each other. Now, based on that understanding, which of these things has the most conflicts? Number two, fast results. Fast results oftentimes conflict with long-term results because usually what you have to do to get fast results is not maintainable long-term. It's not a long-term solution. Think about it. A lot of times fast results do not make you feel better. If you've done some of these extreme diets, extreme weight loss programs, you feel pretty terrible. Fast results also usually means more effort, more work up front, way harder and extreme versus slowly working up to it, doing what you can handle, which really is going to be easier. And so fast and easy often have conflict as well. People think faster is easier because it's shorter, but that's not really what makes something easier or not, just the duration. That can certainly be a part of the factor, but think about it this way. Would it be easier to hit the lottery and all at once get a lot of money, or to put away a little bit of money each year into a long-term investment that's going to have a big return in the end? Now, granted, there are people who do hit the lottery, but again, the chances are a lot lower. This is a more sure thing over here. And so even though, yes, it might be quicker to do this one in theory, it's really not quicker. Just like a lot of the extreme 30-day quick diet, quick extreme weight loss programs, it's not actually quicker because you're not going to keep the results long term. And so you're actually going to take longer to get the same result as if you just were doing a little bit slower, easier, more gradual growth. Fast results are often not healthy either, which makes sense why you don't feel good. And the process to get fast results is typically not going to be very enjoyable. Now, again, some of these things might not even be on your list. There may be other conflicts that you see and have highlighted yourself, and that's good and it's worth recognizing. And what you need to recognize is that where there is a conflict, you're likely going to have to choose one or the other a lot of the time. And by choosing one, you are saying no to the other, or at least not making it as big of a focus. And this is true whether you realize you're doing it or not. And that's what I'm trying to help you understand and hopefully see, that the fast results causes the most conflict. It's got the most conflict with every other thing on that list, all your other desires, all your other goals that you have. And if you're chasing after a fast result, it's going to be neglecting a lot of the other things. And it could be the reason that you're not getting long-term results and finally actually seeing a change in your life. Ask yourself, have you chased the fast results? Have you chased the quick, easy solutions that you've seen out there and fallen for a lot of the marketing that plays right into that desire? Maybe the reason that you're not getting results isn't because you just haven't found the right program yet. Maybe the reason you're not getting results isn't because you just haven't found that right diet or that right pill or whatever it might be, the right supplement. Maybe it's that you haven't given up this idea that you can just get fast, easy results. Once you let that die, maybe you can actually start focusing on these other things and not compromising on them. Cut out the fast results and you'll actually start getting results. And once you've gotten there and you're in that right headspace, and you recognize, hey, this is going to take time, it's going to take effort, but it's going to be a worthwhile investment into my life to make these habit changes and to really start to see the change long-term, sustainable, and not this miserable, unenjoyable, not maintainable experience that nobody wants to probably do for the rest of their lives. Recognizing that will then begin to allow you to make a path for yourself, choosing programs that fit into those other things that are important to you, because you can cut out the fast. Once you cut that out, that's going to narrow a lot of things down. It's going to make your choices a lot easier in deciding what steps you need to take going forward. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next episode. We're continuing in the preparation stage. Now that we've gotten this video out of the way, hopefully you're actually applying the knowledge that you're getting. It's going to be setting us up to really making some impactful decisions in the next episode on what things you need to do to start getting long-term results for yourself and setting up a lifestyle and a path that you enjoy, one that you can stick with long-term and still get great results from. So if that video is already out, you can check it out right here. If not, it'll be coming out soon. So subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. I hope you'll continue following along. We will eventually also get into the action stage, which is the more fun part, but I want you taking the right actions. And so this preparation stage, although maybe not quite as fun, is necessary in order to start taking steps towards action. And then once we get through the action stage, we can get to the really exciting stuff of maintaining the results that you've gotten for the rest of your life. I know this may all be a lot to take in. It may feel a little bit overwhelming, but just realize you're getting, in the matter of a few short videos, what takes people years and years and years to understand and implement. And if you could stick with me and get through this video series, I truly believe it can be life-changing for you. All right, that's it for this one. I will see you in the next one.